question, are you okay with not being the exception to the rule? I recently made a video where I talked about how most men are going to go bald in their life to some degree. They're at least going to be noticeably balding at some point, at some decade in their life. And many are the exception to the rule that they are Norwood 4 by age 20. And some are the exception to the rule that they died 89 years old and they have a full head of hair, full density. But I think what happens in the hair loss community is we look at those two extremes and we think, this is heaven if I get to live my whole life and never go bald, and then this is hell if I lose my hair young or start noticeably balding young. And that's all we're looking at. We're not looking at the middle, which is that most of us are going to be balding to some degree throughout life. And if you're not ready for it even in your 20s, if it does happen at age 32 or whatever, well then you had all those years of mercy, but then bam, now you're not ready for the rest. And so I think it can be challenging for anyone in that situation that wants to be the exception to the rule. And I think part of why my whole identity on this channel works, the identity that I don't need to be the exception to the rule. I don't need to think that I matter that much, that I want to be that person who doesn't go bald or is, like Johnny Cash. He didn't start going bald until he was basically a couple years away from dying. I mean, he pretty much was always like Nord 1.5 really. So it's like, okay, well that'd be the best case scenario. But we keep focusing on the exception to the rule and thinking that needs to be me. And that for the years of the existence of my channel, I talk about my hair loss theories. If you can grow a full connected beard by age 18, you're more likely to be the guy who is going to be noticeably balding by age 35. And they hear that, no, I know this guy, and then they focus on the exceptional. And I don't know if that's just my audience, that most of my audience is younger, that it's in your instincts, in your nature to focus on the exception to the rule instead of what's normal. But for me, I'm not looking for an exception to the rule. I'm looking at patterns and what's normal. And what's normal is it's part of the male identity to be losing your hair. I embrace that. I embrace masculinity and being male, and I expect that to happen. And I've been that way my whole life. I've said this so many times before, but I thought I was going to be like Norwood 4 by age 33. I was expecting that to happen, and it didn't happen. Now, give it a few years, it may happen, but I'm almost 38. I had been expecting that because even as a child, I recognized that if you're a man, you're going to be noticeably balding before age 35. That was what I expected. Those were my expectations. Even now, I look in the selfie cam and I think, how is this guy going to have his 20th high school reunion and still have this much hair? But what a benefit it was for me that I was expecting to go bald, because I always knew that most men deal with male pattern baldness, and it's a male concept. I feel like I've always embraced that. Now granted, I mean, just like you, what are you? You're 24 in Norwood 2, 1.5? I mean, I even remember when I was 19, 20 looking at photos of myself, and of course I had the long bangs, but I would look up and I was like, oh wow, I can see where it's going up higher than here. And so, in my early 20s, I tended to have hair that just completely covered my hairline. Just think, oh, how many years can I get away with that? Because like now, I couldn't even really have the hairstyle where I have the bangs. Why would a guy who's almost 40 want that hairstyle? That look weird, actually. Exactly. Because it's normal to be experiencing baldness as a male. And I'm not trying to be the exception to the rule. And I think the more that you try to be the exception to the rule in that and look for exceptions to the rule, you only limit yourself. I'm Nick Schell. There's a reason that I am the living legend of hair loss, because I share such wisdom with you, as I've said in this video, that you're not hearing from other people. I am. Let's face it. I am a father figure to you. And I've said it before, recently, that men who don't have a positive male role model in their life, a father figure in their life, have a good relationship with their father, are often the ones who are most traumatized by hair loss. Fortunately, and you've seen my dad in videos, I had the best father that I could have asked for. And I think that has a lot to do with my ability to see reality in a healthy way. Your comments belong right here.